Hello and welcome to Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. My name is Kelly and I'm a former wedding planner and blogger, and I'm obsessed with weddings. If you're planning a wedding in Ireland, you're in the right place. You're going to learn the tried and tested methods to planning your dream wedding without the added stress. Think of this as your one-stop shop for everything to do with planning your wedding in Ireland, with me, your new wedding planning bestie, and a cup of tea. This is Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. Well, hello and welcome to Wedding Wednesdays. We are in week 1 of a 4-part series that's all about what to do when you are planning on popping the question. So if you have plans to get engaged anytime soon, you're in the right place because we have 4 episodes coming out, 1 each week throughout this month, and I'm going to tell you exactly what we have in store for you. Today, we're talking about everything you need to know about engagement rings. Next week, it's how to plan the proposal. The week after that is what to say when you propose, apart from the obvious. And then the final week is all about engagement announcements and how you can share the news, who you should share it with first, and how to do it. But we're going to get stuck into the first part. So it's all about engagement rings. And I'm going to introduce you to some engagement ring terminology. And if you've got a notebook, you can write things down, or you can head to weddingsonline.ie/blog, and you can have a look at the notes for this particular episode. You can see all the writing and you can get the spelling of the different words. You can have a glance over at the notes just to make sure that you've brushed up on this knowledge before you need it. But let me go through the first part. So when it comes to an engagement ring, there are 2 things to think about, and I'm going to show you my engagement ring as a reference. So if you're looking at the video version, you can see this is my engagement ring. The 2 parts are the diamond, if you are opting for a diamond, and then the actual ring. And so we're going to start by looking at the different aspects to think about for each of those parts. So part 1, the diamond. So if you're going to go for the classic diamond, you need to familiarize yourself with the 4 C's. The 4 C's are cut, color, clarity, and carat. So cut is the shape of the diamond when you look at it from the top. So if you're looking at somebody's hand and you're glancing down at the ring, the shape that you see is called the cut. And so I'm going to give you a few examples of different types of cuts. And it's hard to explain what they look like when we're just chatting, but you may understand the shape as I say it to you. So things like round and oval, you know what those shapes are like in real life. That's the same as the cut of the diamond. So we've got round, oval, cushion, princess, emerald, pear, marquise, heart, asher, and trillion. Those are some examples of the cut. The next C is color. Now, color is not just if it's a little bit pink or, if it's like a white diamond. Color actually refers to the amount of yellowness that you see in the diamond. And it's measured on a scale of colorless, which is the best, to fancy yellow, which is the yellowest of the options when it comes to the color of a diamond. The next C is called clarity. Now, something you need to know is that all diamonds will have what's called an imperfection or an inclusion, and they are found in all natural diamonds, and the fewer visual imperfections there are, the better the clarity will be. And so you'll have an understanding of how perfect the diamond is based on the clarity. And then the final C is called carat. So I'm going to spell that for you. So it's C-A-R-A-T. And I'm doing this now because there's a different carat that we're going to speak about a little bit later on. But carat with a C, it doesn't refer to the size of the diamond, but actually the weight of the diamond. So 1 carat is the equivalent of 0.2 grams. So I'm going to just quickly recap the diamond specs for you before we move on. So we've got cut, which is the shape of the diamond when you view it from the top. We have color, which is the amount of yellowness found in the diamond. We have clarity, and that's about the inclusions and small imperfections in the diamond. And then we have carat, which is the weight of the diamond. Now, we mentioned that the next part of what you need to think about when it comes to engagement rings is the ring itself. And there are 3 things to consider when you think about the ring. So the first one is carat. I mentioned we have carat. This is carat with a K. We have the metal and then the setting. So carat with a K is, so let me recap carat with a C. That's the weight of the diamond. Carat with a K is how you measure the fineness of the gold. So gold is measured in units of 24. So 18 karat gold is considered to be 18 out of 24 or 75%. And then 24 karat gold is 100% gold. So if you're measuring gold, carat is a word that you're going to start seeing a lot of, which is Karat. That's carat with a K. Then the next element when it comes to rings is the metal. So there are lots of things to choose from. I'm going to rattle off a list. So the most popular ones are platinum, silver, white gold, yellow gold, and rose gold. And then there are some other choices like steel, titanium, ceramic, and tungsten. So when you are thinking about the ring, you want to think about what metal you want. And one of the things that I always recommend is if you aren't entirely sure what your partner wants in terms of a ring, think about the color jewelry that they wear typically. So I opted for yellow gold because I don't particularly wear silver or white gold jewelry very much, but when I do wear jewelry, it's often yellow gold. And so that's the color that I preferred. And so if you're not entirely sure, it's definitely worth asking your partner if they've got a preference, because there's no wrong answer because they're all really beautiful. Now, the third option when it comes to the rings is the setting. And now the setting is how you hold the stone in place in the ring. And there are 4 options that you can choose from. So we have prongs, bezel, channel, and pave. So prongs are kind of like hooks or claws that basically suspend the diamond in place. And the diamond will be suspended in place slightly above the band. Then bezel, it's like a metal rim. It surrounds the diamond and it secures it in place. Then channel, the diamonds sit in a metal channel right besides each other, and then they flow smoothly around the band. And then finally pave, it's a cluster of small diamonds. They're encrusted along the surface of the band. So let me recap the terminology that we've just gone through when it comes to rings. It's carat, metal, and setting. So carat is measuring the fineness of gold. Metal is, of course, the type of metal that you choose. And then setting is how you hold the stone in place. And then the 4 types of settings that I listed was prongs, bezel, channel, and pave. Now, before we move on, I want to chat through very quickly how to choose the ring. So, of course, if you're going to go for a diamond, there's all the things that we've spoken about, the cut and the clarity and all those things that you're going to look for. And there's the type of ring, and there's the metal, and all of those kind of technical things. But before you even start looking at the technical things, how do you choose which ring you're going to buy for the person that you're going to ask to marry you? Now, there are a couple of preferences. So you could choose between having the ring itself be a surprise, or you can include your partner in the decision. And there's no right or wrong answer. It really depends on your preferences. It depends on your proposal, and if the whole proposal is going to be a full-on surprise, or if your partner is going to know it's coming, but they won't know how and when you're going to propose. Some of those things will factor in. But I recommend deciding ahead of time if you would like this conversation to be open, or if you're going to pick a ring, you're going to surprise your partner, and you're going to go behind the scenes and do a little bit of sleuthing. So if it is a surprise, something that I've alluded to earlier is you want to have a look at the existing jewelry collection that your partner has. And that's going to give you an idea of the type of aesthetic that they are going after and the kind of things that they enjoy. So it could be things like the color of the jewelry. Your partner might have a lot of rose gold or a lot of yellow gold or lots of silver. And that kind of idea can give you some clues as to what they enjoy. And then even things like, you can go for like a minimalist ring with one really beautiful diamond, or if your partner really likes kind of unique, bold jewelry and maybe they don't want a diamond, but they want a different type of stone that's a little bit more out there and a bit more unique, then, you can start to get a bit of a sense of what they're going to like based on what they already have. Now, another thing you can do is that, you might be like, listen, I don't know anything. I've got no clues here. And I don't blame you. If that's where you're at, it's okay. There's some things you can do. You can get the help of a trusted friend. And it's really simple. There are a couple of really sneaky things you can do. For example, if you're not sure of the ring size that your partner has, you could always get a trusted friend to nick a piece of jewelry, a ring from your partner's jewelry collection or something like that, just so you can figure out what size ring they wear. You can always get that friend to ask a couple of questions, if you got engaged, what color ring would you like? Do you like diamonds? Some of those questions that if you ask them, it's going to be a bit obvious. But if a friend asks, it's a little bit more, it's just a little bit more sneaky, and they may not pick up on anything. And then, of course, another thing you can do is if your partner's on Pinterest, it's a great way to have a look and see if they've saved any ring pictures, because trust me, every woman in the world who's been on Pinterest and looked at wedding things has saved at least a handful of pictures of their dream ring. So that's a good place to look if your partner is on Pinterest. And then, of course, if you don't need this to be a surprise, you could go shopping together. That's actually what my husband and I did. We decided that we were going to go and look together. I had this dream in my mind before I'd even met my partner that I was going to meet this person who would just know what type of ring that I wanted and would just surprise me with this proposal and this ring. But then I slowly realized that actually I don't even know what ring I want. So how can I expect someone else to know for me? So we decided to look together, and it just gave us a bit of an idea of the types of rings that looked good on me and the types that just didn't fit with my personality or just looked really weird on my hand. So that's what we did. It was a little bit intimidating at first, but actually the people in the jewelry stores, they know lots of things. They're really helpful. There's no question that's too silly. They will explain everything to you, and it'll give you a chance to actually see different rings on your partner's hand. And then you can always leave all the rings at the store, and then at another point in time, you could just secretly go to the store and buy the one that you want to propose with. So those are some options. And before we finish, I just want to rattle off just very quickly a couple of ways that you can clean a diamond engagement ring. Now, of course, when it's brand new, you're not going to need to do this. But after some time, keeping the ring clean is really, really important. And there are a lot of debates, should you clean it yourself? Should you give it to the professionals to do? Should you even keep your engagement ring on the whole time, or should you take it off? And to be honest, most of it is a personal preference. I'm the type of person who wears my rings all the time. I will take them off if I'm doing any kind of, weightlifting for gym or anything like that. But for the most part, I wear mine all the time. But I do know people who take theirs off when they sleep or when they shower. And it really does come down to personal preference. And the same thing is true when it comes to cleaning your ring. So my first piece of advice is, if you are going to clean your own ring, you've got to do it well. You don't want to use the wrong products. You don't want to use the wrong temperature of water. You don't want to do anything that's going to damage the ring. So I'm going to quickly walk you through something that I found. I've tried this and it's worked. So you're going to mix warm water, not hot, almost hot, but warm water with dishwashing soap or shampoo or something. I opted for dishwashing soap. I use a kind of eco-friendly brand. So you're going to mix that with warm water. Soak the ring in that for about 20 to 40 minutes. And then you want to gently brush it with a very soft toothbrush. Don't get one of those old bristly toothbrushes. It's got to be soft. You're going to gently brush it. You're not scrubbing it. It's an engagement ring. And then you're going to rinse it under warm water. And if you need to, you can repeat that. But I must say, don't use anything moisturizing, because that's the reason there's buildup on the ring in the first place. So don't use anything moisturizing. And then when you are drying your ring, don't use paper towels, because they can actually leave scratches on the metal. So you want to use something soft, like cloth that's made of cotton, or you can actually just let it air dry, which is what I usually do, because that's the safest way, because you're not going to damage it that way. And then a week or so before the wedding, get the ring professionally cleaned by a professional jeweler, because they know what they're doing. I did that before my wedding. I think for about a week or so, I wore some very cheap, ugly ring while my ring was being professionally cleaned. When I say cheap, I mean I got it from some very average store that made costume jewelry. It was very cheap, but I just wore it because I wanted to have something on my hand to signify that I'm engaged and getting married. So it's okay to clean your ring yourself after a few months or years of it kind of losing its sparkle. But then when it comes to just before the wedding, get it professionally cleaned. It is your big day after all. You deserve a treat. And if getting the ring professionally cleaned is going to make you feel special, then do that. I'm going to very quickly run through when not to wear your engagement ring, because I think a lot of people don't know that when you wear your engagement ring or when you take it off, that has quite a big effect on how long your engagement ring is going to keep sparkly and shiny and in the right shape. So one time that you don't want to wear your engagement ring is when you're doing a workout. Anything to do with lifting weights, but even body weight workouts like yoga or Pilates can cause your ring to change its shape. Then if you're at the beach or doing any kind of swimming, of course you can lose your ring in the water, and the chlorine can actually dull the sparkle of the ring, so you don't want to wear it at the beach or when you swim. If you're applying lotion, so I mentioned before, moisturizers can actually impact the ring, and you can have buildup on the ring. So if you're applying loads of sun cream and loads of moisturizers, take the ring off. Another one, this is probably one that you've never heard of, is actually when you're wearing gloves. So I don't know if you know this, but when it's really cold, your ring size actually decreases. So it means your fingers get smaller and your ring is basically bigger than it needs to be, and it can slip off. And so when you're taking your gloves off, you can often pull the ring off your finger, and it just damages the ring, or you could lose the ring. And then finally, if the ring doesn't fit properly, if it's too big or too small, just get it resized. Don't wait around for too long to do that, because the ring could get damaged or it could fall off and you could lose it, and that would be really, really terrible. So if it doesn't fit, just get it resized. I'm going to give you a quick recap of the diamonds and the rings terminology that we spoke through earlier, and I'm going to encourage you to have a look at the blog so that you can see the writing and you can just get the spelling right. But when it comes to the diamonds, remember there's the 4 C's. It's the cut, the color, the clarity, and the carat. When it comes to rings, it's the three factors to consider, which is carat with a K, the metal, and the setting. Now, next week is going to be a really good week because we're talking all about how to plan the proposal. And so if you've got your ring, that's a good start. But how do you pop the question? Where should you do it? How do you know if you're going to surprise your partner? All of those things we're going to cover in the next episode next week. So make sure you don't miss that. Thank you for listening today. The Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online podcast is produced by me, Kelly, and mixed, mastered, and edited by Glenn Hartman. For more wedding planning tips, advice, checklists, and more, visit weddingsonline.ie.